police presence over here, and they're doing a great job protecting themselves, making sure everything is doing good. They're handling things properly. They've had problems last night, but I wanted to film that, and then I will talk to you guys in a little bit. This is all I wanted to film. Talk to you later. Hey, I'm sorry for the picture quality, but the following scenes are an example of some of the work police officers do. Could have been a domestic or theft complaint, and they were professional throughout that. Our police officers in our town treat people with respect. With all the negativity going around, I thought I'd film some of it. So the following clips will include what a lot of police officers do. Now, yesterday they had problems at that house. They left. So I don't know the whole backstory to it, but I do know this. It looks like they treated people right. And it's nice to know that African Americans in our town are not afraid to call the police when they've been done wrong. I'm not saying there's not bad cops, but they go through a lot. And one of the worst situations they can go through is domestic problems, whether it's domestic violence or an argument that's getting out of hand and everything. That's when they're most at risk. With all that's going on with the rioting, the agitators out there, I thought I'd show this. Now I know I'm not going to convince a lot of people, but I want you to know that there are good police officers out there. Now the person, the devil that did that to George Floyd, I hope he rots in hell. I mean, you talk to any police officers, they'll say the same thing. Things are getting out of hand in our major cities, and it's kind of outrageous, man. I feel bad because the African American community is getting decimated right now. The same people that are rioting for racial justice are destroying these communities. And lots of times they're outside people that started. There's piles of bricks that are appearing everywhere. Who's funding that? Who's doing that? We need to follow the money. You know, but these police officers here in our town, they treat people with respect. Now, a lot of people are hesitant to deal with them, and I don't blame them. I don't like interacting with a police officer either, but I will, and I'll treat them with respect, because as long as I know I'm white, or look white, but I got news for you guys. I'm a quarter American Indian. Part of my history is the Native American injustice. But you can't carry that history in you. You can't. In order for you to have a future, you can't live in the past. You got to live in the present, build on that. When something bad happens, you correct it at the local level. Unfortunately, Minneapolis failed in that. And I don't care what you say, that's BS. If they would have done swift, proper justice, they could have arrested all of them on probable cause. And I know with pandemic it's hard for grand juries, but I think if they're going to allow rioting, they could invoke a grand jury. But right now, they wouldn't find a fair grand jury unless they went to the country, rural area, and get these grand jury members up there. But when this happened, it should have been, boom. First night of rioting, they should have overwhelmed these rioters and get it done and over with, without hurting them, doing it proper and everything. With George Floyd, all those officers should have been in custody under arrest for probable cause. Nobody's asking why that wasn't happening. Nobody is. And we're focusing on these idiots that are rioting, and we're not focusing on the answers that are needed. Why the police department allowed a 19-year veteran with several complaints, and a lot of those officers in there, including the Asian officer, have had several complaints. Why hasn't that police department been reformed? That's the job of the local leaders and that police chief. That's where the injustice is. How you fix this stuff is when these flare up, you take a good look at that department, and if it needs to be reformed, reform it. And that's just the way it is. Or go into these departments and reform it. But the African American community, once they are asking for justice, they're destroying it. That's not justice. That's wiping out setting back the whole African American community. It's going to be hard as heck to get that done. Ferguson was never the same after the riot. I do know this. To fix things, you cannot destroy the community you're fighting for. Doesn't make sense to me. The peaceful protesters now are taking on the agitators. And I back the peaceful protesters. In fact, I'm probably going to go to a rally tomorrow and monitor it, and I'm going to march with them. And I will be filming. Because I do believe that things need to be addressed. But just remember, because you got to look at the statistics and wonder and where these problems are. The 9 African Americans that were unarmed and shot and killed last year, those departments should be looked at intensely when that happens. Some of them were justified because they were coming after them. They were approaching them. But the ones that weren't, you got to look at that department, because that bad apple is just a symptom of the problem. All right, talk to you later. This is an example of police being fair and treating people with respect. They're dealing with potentially a domestic issue plus other things. And this young lady that's talking to police officers got theft complaints against somebody else. So they're doing their best job. I'm proud of them. This is great. Thank you. Talk to you later. Looks like they're detaining somebody. Somebody stole something from somebody. They found some proof. I'm talking low because I don't want them to know that I'm filming. They're doing a great job. These police officers and marshal treat people with respect, but I have to be firm. So I'm trying to be careful, and I'm just monitoring this situation.